what's up, everybody? Sean here, host of the Sensibly Cynical podcast. Today's guest? Wait. No. There's no guest today. Just me flying solo like it was back in the, kind of old days. For those that have been here from the beginning, hopefully that's most of you, but I don't know about that. Anyways, it was November of 2017, and I had a co-host, Frank Jag. We just ran on random stuff, and it was interesting. Then we started having guests on the podcast, Sugar Kuiper, Christy Monroe. The list goes on and on and on. Coming up very soon is episode 200. So I was thinking to myself, what should I do for episode 200? Well, I've already done clip shows. And I was like, oh man, trying to think in the old machine, the old noggin, which, isn't as good as it was. I mean, I'm not saying 35 or 36 is ancient. I'm not going to tell you which one I am. But, it's not as sharp as it was back in the day. So I decided I'm going to do an AMA, or for the young kids, Ask Me Anything. So I'm going to do multiple posts on Twitter, Facebook, and even TikTok. And you can ask me any question you have that you've wanted to ask me. Why is it Sensibly Cynical? Why does no one listen to this podcast? I'm just kidding. Well, kind of. Anyways, it should be interesting. I'm an open book. I thought about maybe having a co-host if anyone is interested in joining me for this episode. Email, DM, slide in my DMs, of course. So this episode is titled Spitfire, in honor of the British solo plane, World War II. Notably, it's also person with a fierce temper. So this is how I am about this podcast. It's hit or miss as far as my consistency. I wish, we had more traction by now. I'm just being straight to the point. I appreciate those that listen every week and everything like that. If you could pass this podcast to your neighbors, neighbors, whatever, I would highly appreciate it. I know I've said that a few times in the past, but seriously, I would appreciate it. Sorry if you think it's been too music heavy lately, but sources are sources, and these musicians have been in fuego, like one after the other, Elise Stein, Megan Nadine. Again, the list goes on and on and on. So anyways, I'm excited for the future. I plan on still doing musicians, but I'm going to try to have more podcasts on, co-hosts, hosts that are doing big things in the podcast world to give them a platform. Also, I'm going to try to dive into more of the comedian scene. I know we had Austin Mann and other comedians on, most notably the stripper comedian Christy Monroe. I've already mentioned her 1,000 times on the podcast, but I'm going to try to reach out to more comedians, have them on, and I'm going to dip into the solo machine again, like I did back in the day. But it's not going to be like subject matter. It's just going to be like every other random podcast and talk about what's on my mind, what's on their mind, what's on people's mind, what's on society's mind. There's trolls and stuff. And I try to see both sides on like newspaper articles. Well, not many people read newspapers anymore, but you get the picture. So I'm excited for the future of this podcast. And for those that are listening as I speak, thank you so much. I will keep you updated on the future of the podcast, which I think is very bright. My social media presence is just growing and growing. Instagram followers are over 4,000. Twitter is over 2,100, I think. And TikTok, well, that's just TikTok. But I'm trying to grow it. I try to do these little snippets of like 1 or 2 minute highlight videos of the interviews that I've done lately, and I think those are getting a little bit of traction. But any recommendations on topics, or If you have any referrals for someone that would be interested in being on the podcast, hit me up. And I have a couple more guests, well, at least one, lined up to continue my On the Come Up series where I interview up-and-coming, obviously, artists that are making it big and trying to make it big and are making it big in the industry. I like to hear the, stories of how people started. It intrigues me. My dad is an engineer. I know that's a weird analogy, but I like to know how things are made, how careers are made, etc. That's it for this episode of the Sensibly Cynical podcast. Please check us out on Twitter at Cynical Sensibly, Instagram, Sensibly Cynical Pod, and check out our Facebook page. WordPress, we are, of course, on there. TikTok at Sensibly Cynical. Bonfire. Speaking of Bonfire, I'm going to start putting more items. Of course, the mugs will stay there, but I'm talking about shirts, a new sticker. The list will go on and on and on. That's it. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. And please stay safe and take care.